Hey, What the Suck family. As you may have noticed, we recently switched to Anchor for our podcast hosting needs.
That's right. We were using another site that had us paying $20 a month for services such as unlimited uploading, unlimited hosting, and distribution. Anchor will distribute your podcast to Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and many more, and they do it all for free.
They make it super easy to create and start your podcast directly from their site. You can record and edit directly on the Anchor website or app directly from your phone.
It's your one-stop shop for everything you need to create your own show. They will even help you find sponsors to fund your project.
Just go to anchor.fm and get started today. There really is no easier way to do it.
What? No!
You suck! Oh my God!
Hey, this is What the Suck Podcast. I'm James.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to another wonderful episode where we will dissect another award-winning piece of shit.
Fantastic.
Well, this week we are going to be reviewing for our 7th episode the movie Zombeavers, and what a treat we're in for.
Oh man, you guys are such a fun little ride here.
Basically, Zombeavers is a 2014 American horror comedy film. Yeah, you're telling me. Directed by Jordan Rubin, based on a script by Al Kaplan, who ought to be ashamed of himself, Jordan Rubin, who ought to be shot, and John Kaplan as well, who ought to be whipped with a chain. The film follows a group of college kids, typical, staying at a riverside cottage that are attacked by a swarm of zombie beavers, which my illustrious colleague Chris alluded to earlier while we were discussing a couple of facts
We'll spill later on.
Spill later on, yeah. The film has its world premiere on April 19th, 2014 at the Tribeca Film Festival. The film was released in the U.S. on March 20th, 2015. On December 2014, Zombeavers was released on DVD. So in other words, it made it to DVD before it went to the theater, according to this.
Yeah.
It has a budget of...
No idea.
Probably
$1.85.
They listed nothing. Why don't you go ahead and run down the cast and credits there, Mr. Chris?
All right. Actually, I don't have that. You have that.
I do have that.
You have that. Go for it. I do have that it was in 11 theaters when it was released in March, and that the domestic box office totaled $8,014,947. So it made less than the cost to buy a car.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. 14 grand. I think it was 44 globally.
44 globally. Yeah.
I think it made 30 grand in Australia.
Austria.
Excuse me.
8,000 in Lebanon. Those Lebanese love Zombeavers, man.
All right, well, let's run down the credits, shall we?
All right.
The film, as I stated before, was directed by Mr. Jordan Rubin, produced by Evan Ostrowski, Chris Bender, and Christopher Lamole. The Bender household. Yo, smoke up, Johnny. Written by Al Kaplan, Jordan Rubin, and John Kaplan. I'm going to sound like a parrot here.
Yeah, for
Story
real.
by Al Kaplan, Jordan Rubin, and John Kaplan.
Should have been a cap on the number of Kaplans in this movie.
That's right. It is starring Rachel Melvin, Hutch Dano, Courtney Palm, Lexi Atkins, Bill Burr. God bless you, Bill. He's one funny son of a bitch, but man, I don't know why he was in this movie. Jake Weary, Peter Gilroy, and of course, John Mayer.
Body is a wonderland.
Music by Al and John Kaplan. Cinematography, if you want to call it that, by Jonathan Hall. Edited by Ed Marks and Seth Flom. Production company was Armory Films and Bender Spink.
Sphincter, what?
I have no idea. Distributed by Freestyle Releasing, Epic Pictures.
Yo, they freestyled the shit out this movie, didn't they?
like I said, we did say the release date of April 19th, 2014, and March 20th of 2015. So I guess they just couldn't figure it out. 85-minute runtime, released in the United States. Box office total worldwide. Total, $44,000. I paid more than for my truck. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay.
All right. Well, I guess we can get started on the review then.
I guess so. Brace for impact, folks. This one's a this one's a real chuckler.
Hang on to your beavers.
Here we are. Home sweet home. Woo! Make it rain, bitches.
What is that? Looks like a beaver dam. Let's go take a look.
You girls from out of town?
We're staying over there in my cousin's place. We were looking for beavers.
Well, hell, ain't we all?
Well, I've had enough excitement for one day. What was that?
Someone in there?
There's a beaver in the bathroom! Kill it! Yuck.
Can we please go swimming now? Ever occurred to any of you that there might be more beavers?
The fuck?
Is that blood?
Holy shit!
Never seen a real beaver before close.
Well, maybe you should try going down on me once in a while, Bud.
We cannot turn against each other right now. That is exactly what the beavers would want.
Beavers are generally more active at night. That road's blocked. We sure as hell can't get through on foot.
Suck a bag of dicks!
There's no way I'm drunk enough for this.
I mean, really?
Okay, so the movie starts with probably the two best actors in the entire movie.
I would say so. I think
The
this
two
movie,
funniest guys in the entire movie.
I think it peaked.
So you get a pair of truckers transporting toxic chemicals. One played by comedian Bill Burr,
Yes.
who's funny, and the other played by singer-songwriter John Mayer in a quite a little get-up. Like if you didn't know it was him, if you didn't know who he was, you might not be able to recognize him. I don't think.
Which I'm sorry to say, I don't know how the heck they got these two guys in here, because Bill Burr is actually quite respected and quite funny comedian, and John Mayer, of course, a Grammy winner and blah blah blah.
Right.
How in the hell did they get him in this? I guess somebody had something on them, you know.
Or they probably knew the director and were like, you know what, can you do this for some weed? And it's like, yeah, I'll do it for some weed, man.
Yeah, sure, man.
But yeah, they have some of the funnier lines in the movie, because like Bill Burr goes on this little rant about how he was gay for a week and how it was way too perfect because they didn't fight about anything. They agreed on everything, and it was just too perfect. And then they start talking about taking shits in people's houses, and then Bill Burr he goes on his cell phone, and John Mayer is like, hey, you see that deer out there? And there's a deer in the middle of the road, and Bill Burr's not even paying attention. He's like, yeah, I see it. But then John Mayer is like he says, I don't think you do. And then wham, smatters. I mean, just splatters deer all over the front.
Slams on the brake,
which causes one of the canisters in the back to pop out, roll down a hill.
To allude to is like, you're carrying toxic chemicals unsecured in the back of a flatbed truck.
Yeah,
I said, okay, smart. It's real smart.
And you're on your cell phone. You're not paying attention. So it rolls down the hill into a river downstream.
It's obviously empty. Rolls down, like you said, rolls down the hill, hits the water, and it's bobbing like a cork. There's no weight, obviously. Okay, so this is us nitpicking, but so be it. And then it goes through it lands into what we couldn't tell what kind of body of water this thing was.
No,
okay, so it hit the water.
It looks like a river.
It starts to move, and it's okay. I get it. It's going downstream. I get it. Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, it hits these Class 4 rapids.
Yeah,
Class 4 and 5 style rapids.
Yeah,
the barrels being tossed all over the place, bobbing up and down. Eventually settles into what looked like part of a river, and nestles up very softly aside this beaver dam where the beavers are sitting there, and then it just pops like
springs a leak.
Just springs a leak.
Went through all those rapids.
All the rapids,
perfectly
didn't do
fine.
nothing.
The second it nudges up against the dam, it's like
it springs a leak and it's
Pops
pressurized. It's like a keg. It
Yeah.
even looks like a keg.
It looks like a keg. So after they hit the deer and the thing pops out, they take off, and then we're greeted to a wonderful set of credits that I absolutely love.
The credits were actually pretty cool on
The
this.
song, the music for the credits was very synth, very 80s, very Creep Show 2, and then the animation overlaid on top of the scene of the keg container going down the river was fantastic. It's very reminiscent of like Creep Show, or another movie that I saw a long time ago called Saturday the 14th. And it's this whole sequence from the initial truck drivers all the way to when the dam reaches the container reaches the beaver dam. It's at that point you can tell the movie is definitely self-aware. It's definitely aware of itself. It realizes that it's not 100% to be taken seriously movie. It's the animatronics on the two beavers you see on the dam are hilariously bad. Like, they're obviously animatronics, but it looks it's so bad that it's good. And they barely move because they're animatronics. I think that the beaver and the Chuck E. Cheese band moves more.
That's
than these
right.
beavers
They're
do.
sitting there. Hey, what's going on? What are we doing this? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, man.
So at that point, you know you're in for a great ride because this movie does not take itself seriously.
Yes. And then I guess that leads into the fact that, okay, this is how they become zombies. We get it. Ha ha. Blah, blah. Same old school.
Homage to Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. Chemical, blah,
Actually,
blah,
I take it back. It's Return to Night of the Living Dead. I think that's what it is because Night of the Living Dead never explains.
It was just gas.
Just gas.
It was like some kind of gas. And it was very tacky. This wasn't a gas. It was more of a sludge.
Very neon green.
Very
sludge.
neon green looking. And so obviously this is what leads to our furry friends becoming whatever.
Zombeavers, right. So then the scene shifts to three main characters: Mary, Zoe, and Jen. Actually, Jen's in the bathroom looking at a text. She's crying because her boyfriend cheated on her because he's a fucking douchebag. Not that
of
important.
Course.
Yeah. So
isn't that how it always works?
How it always works, especially with movies. So then she's in the bathroom of a truck stop. She comes out, gets back in the car. The three of them, Mary, Zoe, and Jen, are heading out to Mary's cousin's cabin to spend the weekend with some girl time, get away from the guys, and just enjoy themselves.
Yep, and the beavers and everybody in the forest were going to be severely disappointed to find out that these three are the skinniest chicks in the history of mankind. I swear to God, they're horrible. I can't stand it. I was like, at least make them hot. If you're going to torture us for an hour and a half, at least make the chicks hot. I mean, they were not ugly,
right? But
they might. Each of them might weigh 80 pounds.
Typical female characters in these type of movies,
Not body shaming or anything. It's just they're just skinny.
Give us some real women.
I'm more of I like a gal with some meat on her bones. I don't go for that skinny stuff.
Yeah. So they get to the cabin and they discover they have no signal, and they're all kind of the two of them, Jen and Zoe, are kind of annoyed. Mary's like, look, we need to spend the whole weekend without interruptions, with no technology, no boys, no nothing. So they decide to go swimming down the lake. And while they're down there, they discover a beaver dam, the beaver dam. So when they swim up closer to check a look, they see all the goo, the radioactive goo all over the dam. They mistake it for beaver piss because they're smart.
They're just so intelligent,
genius. And while they're there, they come across a big bear.
Yep.
And bear scared off by a local hunter.
And I am trying to remember his name.
His name is Smith with a Y.
Smith with a Y.
And that is exactly
That's
how
right.
he
Brother Smith
introduces himself. My name is Smith with a Y.
Talking to three girls in bikinis, one of them topless. And he's wearing a full jacket, jeans, and an Indiana Jones fedora hat.
Yes. And you think it's going to go kind of the whole pervert route where he's trying to hit on them or just be a whole pervert, whatever. But
yeah, we're looking for beavers. Well, ain't everybody?
Right. But then it turns out that he tells them, you should cover up and we think that where he's alluding to Zoe, who had taken her top off earlier, and he says, "No, all three of you, because this is a good, decent community." You're like, "Oh, so he's not a pervert. He's just really, really old-fashioned country boy."
Going back to the barrel real quick, Chris. Continuity error.
Oh, okay.
Barrel was in a river, right? How the hell did it end up in a still lake? There was no input that I saw.
I don't know. I did not notice that because that entire sequence took place during the intro credits, and I was too busy looking. Because again, we didn't. Let's go a little more to the intro credits. The intro credits were animated, but they had a real Scooby-Doo James Bond theme to them.
Yeah, they did.
Because you get like the all six of the characters running in a very Scooby-Doo style fashion down these woods, and then they end up on the barrel of a gun running into the site. Very James Bond. So I was busy being in awe of that. I didn't really notice the background in which the barrel made its journey from river to still waters.
Exactly. And see, in between that, we did see our first victim, although we did not see much of it. Our first victim was a young boy fishing on the side of the lake.
Number one dad. I call him number one dad kid.
There. Yeah, number one dad kid.
His hat said number one dad on it. But
out
he was
there
like,
casting out, and then his rod gets yanked out of his hand, and then he gets attacked.
Beaver cam style.
And you're like, wait a minute. Anyway, they don't give you a timestamp on any of this stuff, so I guess the chemicals already affected the beavers or whatever.
I mean, and that's the thing,
because it doesn't really tell you. It makes it seem like it's like right then and there,
and it doesn't show you when or how exactly. There's no timeline. Neither does it show you that the beavers even get covered in this stuff at all.
They're just sitting there staring at it. Okay,
yeah. So then
onward
and upward. Cut to the girls back in the cabin at night. They're playing Truth or Dare. Nothing really good. And then we get a stupid fake jump scare scene where the girls' boyfriends Buck, Tommy, and Sam show up. Play a prank on them. It's not a good prank. And then Mary wants them to leave because her boyfriend Sam
is a cheating piece
of shit and was not invited there. But of course, the other two dudes are like, "Nah, bro, you gotta come, bro."
And I'm gonna tell you what, folks. This typical. I'm sorry. This one's been done a million times.
Yeah, better.
The three girls and better. It's the three girls out there in the cabin, hanging out. The three boys showing up, thinking they're all cute, scaring them. Let's show them. And they're just complete douchebags.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry.
Yeah, and but there's still it's the chemistry between the six of them isn't too bad. Buck is a total piece of shit douchebag. I can't stand his character. He's so fucking annoying. Of course, he's the one that ends up with Zoe somehow, the quote unquote cutest of the three.
I guess so.
And Sam, who cheated on Mary, he looks like he's about 35, 36. He's been held back a few times in college, it seems. And Tommy looks like typical American white boy dude.
Of course.
Looking like Paul Walker wannabe. Paul Walker reject. But anyway, so they show up, and then, Mary says is okay with them staying. So then they cut to sex scenes where,
of course,
everybody but Sam and Mary are banging. Sam and Jen.
The gratuitous sex scenes, which are intended to keep your attention. You know how that always works.
Yeah. And then so they're all chilling in the house, and Jen decides to go take a shower, and while she's in the bathroom getting ready, she hears a noise coming from the tub.
Which, okay, first of all, noise in the tub, but how in the hell did it get in there? Because she reached in there.
How does what get in there, James? We didn't explain what it is.
But you know what?
What is it?
It's coming, Chris.
Okay, well, what is it? What is it? What got in there?
A fucking beaver.
A Zombeaver, excuse you. Now, we're not talking about when Mary takes her underwear, right? We're not talking about when Mary takes off. Nah. We're not talking about when Mary takes off her underwear. We're talking about an actual beaver.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
No, this is an actual Zombeaver.
So its eyes are sort of glossed over like a silver.
Yep.
And then it looks like it's a very, very rough hand puppet motion type thing, and it's so absolutely fucking hilarious. Just the way it pops its head over the tub, you can tell it's some dude's hand inside the beaver, but it's
it looks like a lesser Muppet.
There
are some Muppets.
It's like a Muppet on meth.
It's just wiggling and it's just crazy, and it hits the floor. It's not even standing on its legs. It's just quivering and jumping about and stuff like that.
These are Muppets created by Jim Henson's younger retarded brother,
I
Ralph
guess
Henson.
I guess because this thing got into the bathroom somehow.
Yeah,
she actually reached in there and turned the damn water on, and didn't not a peep. There wasn't nothing in there. And then all of a sudden, whammo! Here it is. So she runs the fuck out.
You know what? I think I know how it got in there. When the scene with the boyfriends coming in, when Sam is in the house and the girls are on the porch talking to the other guys, and they hear noise from inside, and he appears from inside. They ask him, "How did you get in?" He says, "Magic." Oh wait, no. The bathroom window was open. I think the beaver got in from the bathroom window.
How in the hell did he get... Okay. Hey,
okay.
Whatever. We'll take that one at face value.
I mean, again, it's not very important, but for some reason it just stuck in my head.
Well, he had to get in the house. The motherfucker's in the house.
I do want to say that I think the Zombeavers are absolutely precious.
Oh, they're great.
They are fantastic. But once again, I would have to say that the best... Other than the Bill Burr and then John Mayer characters, I think the other best actor in this movie is the dog.
The mutt.
pup.
Gotta love the mutt.
He has more expression in his face than the six of them have put together.
Yep.
In his non-expressionful face, yes.
Okay, well, cut through all the gratuitous sex.
Yeah.
She runs out of the bathroom after the beaver tries to accost her.
Mm-hmm.
They go back in, armed to the hilt with a baseball bat. And, head dude's acting like a douchebag. So the other guy snatches the bat out of his hand. And, of course, Buck, the dumbass, goes in there talking shit.
Yeah.
What happens, Chris?
Oh, so he's in there talking his bullshit, and all of a sudden, out of the cabinet under the sink, the Zombeaver pops out. How the fuck it got in there, I have no idea. Why it was hiding there, I have no idea. But it was so fucking funny.
Of course.
I mean, I know why it was in there, because it was another space where the puppeteer could get behind it and hide and pop his head out,
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And so it comes out, and the Buck falls to the floor, and then Tommy beats that.
Goes all Negan on the beaver.
He goes all Negan. He goes all Office Space on the fax machine on the beaver, and then they kill it and they wrap it in a bag, put it out on the porch. Just
throw it on a porch. No big deal.
Yep, that's it. And so then that's it. And that's it for the night. And then the next morning they come out to go.
Of course.
To go swimming.
Scantily clad, ready to go into the lake.
Ready to go swimming, looking like a bunch of fucking idiots.
And notice the bag is empty.
It's empty. It's torn open. There's blood everywhere, and there's, as you pointed out, one set of footprints.
One set of footprints.
Leading
Guys
from
like,
the bag,
something probably carried it off
the porch, and they're like, oh, something carried it off and ate it. Yeah.
No, one set of footprints, very obvious.
Fucking city slickers.
Pointing one direction.
Yeah.
Yep. So they head out to the lake. And they climb onto the Creepshow 2 version of raft.
So that raft that they go on, especially with the girls laying on it, is very reminiscent of Creepshow 2 episode The Raft.
The Raft.
In which, this time it's two couples, instead of three, drive out to this lake. There's a raft in the middle of it. And they swim out there, and while they're out there, they notice this huge oil slick out in the lake. And one by one, the oil slick grabs them and
basically eats
their flesh off, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And so
not so amazing.
Not so amazing, but much funnier than that.
But much funnier. But anyway, what happens is we get to the point where they're out there swimming around, and they're teasing. Who's the Jen?
So Jen is on the shore. She doesn't want to go on because she's scared of the Zombeavers. You've got Buck, Fuck, and Tommy Douche. And then Zoe are swimming in the lake.
Yep.
You've got Sam and Mary on the raft talking, and that's when you find out that Mary is the one that cheated on Jen with Sam.
That's right.
Or vice versa. Sam cheated
on twist.
Jen with Mary. Yeah, so they're talking that bullshit. And while Buck and Tommy are giving Jen a hard time, about not swimming, she decides to try to go in there. She gets in about ankle deep.
And delivers. one of the greatest lines of the movie.
Which is?
Something just swam past my feet.
As you pointed out,
Star Wars Episode 4 flashback.
Yeah.
Trash compactor monster.
Yes. And right at that time, all of a sudden, you see Buck go under. And they think that he's playing around, and there's some blood that comes on the surface, and he pops up, and he's freaking out, and then all of a sudden he picks up his hands, and his fucking foot is in his hand.
He comes up with a foot.
The beavers chopped his foot right off. It's the funniest shit ever. It's so funny.
Let's get to the raft.
And so when that happens, then it pans in on, or it cuts to Jen, and it does what I consider a very Jaws-like homage, in which it zooms in on her, and she says, "Get out of the water." It's very reminiscent of that shot in Jaws when it zooms in on Brody when he's on the beach and the attack happens.
Yep. At this point, I find myself rooting for the shark, though, aka beavers.
Yeah, I'm all about the beavers.
I'm rooting for
all
the beavers right now because these guys, these are, sometimes they just put people in movies that just need to die. And, and these 6, I'm sorry, prime candidates.
Oh, absolutely. So they're all freaking out and they're trying to get back to the shore. And what is it that they do, James?
Man, that piece of shit throws the dog in the water and uses him as bait, man. That's just wrong.
That is wrong. What the hell is up with that shit?
I don't know, but
it's number one rule: you don't kill the dog.
You don't kill the dog. Well, they mess with the dog in this one, and during the scene when the dog is attempting to make it back to shore, obviously the beavers catch up with him and take the little pup down, which pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
That instantly made me hate everybody.
Right, me too.
Now, that being said, during that time, who is it?
Which guy?
The blonde.
Jen. Oh, Jen.
Jen.
Yes.
Yeah,
Jen.
Sorry. While they're trying to figure out how to get the hell off the raft and swim to shore and use the time the dog bought them to get to shore, she's running into the cabin and tries to make a phone call,
and we get cut to a scene of the phone box on the outside full of beaver scrapes.
Beaver claw marks.
And the wires are cut. Beavers have chewed through the fucking phone lines. How awesome is that?
They cut the damn lines.
That's so funny. These are smart ass beavers, let me tell you.
I love it. Well, eventually the moron 6 make their way into the house. And they're laying around in a sheer panic, trying to figure out what to do.
But before that, we get the scene where there's a beaver that attacks Jen in the kitchen.
Ah, yes.
And she's up on the counter, and the beaver climbs up on the counter, and you see that it is split in half. And so it's got sinew and all kinds of stuff coming off from us. It looks like an accordion.
Yes. This is
absolutely hilarious, but also probably one of the only good effects in the film. It's
just split in half beaver. Apparently, the one that they'd killed the night before
is split in half,
and it's chasing her up on the counter, and she's laying there, which lends homage to the cover photo of this movie.
Yes,
because she's wide-legged, standing there, and the beaver's just
beaver facing beaver,
and then
stabs it with a
knife, jumps off the counter.
And that's when the rest of the gang makes it back to the cabin.
Then the rest of the morons get in there. Yes, so the moron 6 are once again reunited in the house.
Yeah.
And it cuts to a scene at night when they're sitting there trying to figure out what to do. And homeboy there, Buck.
Buck is
laying there cuddling with his own foot.
In a bag, just holding his sweet little foot.
Has his foot in a bag. And he's cuddling with it and sleeping like a baby.
And they decide this is a good time to do a little bit of character development, talking about the whole cheating on Jen thing or whatever. Thankfully, it's maybe 2 minutes long, and then that's it. And then they move past it, so they don't dwell on it. Thankfully,
thank God, because nobody really gives a fuck.
Nobody gives a shit.
Nope. And at this point, like I said, I'm already like we've already alluded to, I'm rooting for the Beavers big time. And it's obvious they are now beginning to coordinate their attacks.
Yes.
As referenced by one of the
dudes.
One of the dudes is like, they're coordinating their attacks. I think it was Tommy that said
that. Yeah.
And, see, they're so stupid, I don't even remember their names. They don't even deserve names. They're just idiots.
So Tommy forms a plan to take Buck and go grab take the girl's car and go get him help in a hospital because he's not gonna make it to the night. And so Zoe decides to go with him because Buck's her boyfriend, And they take off, make it to the car, and head out. And before they can head out of town, they come upon a downed tree that the beavers have downed.
Of course.
Yes.
Beavers have blocked their exit.
Yes, and they come across Smith's truck, Smith with a Y.
Smith with a Y.
His truck, which they passed to get to the tree, but didn't notice it till they got out of the car. So it's a less than 2-lane dirt road. So how they didn't see it, I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
Tommy finds an axe in there, gives it to Zoe, tells her to get in the car, turn the car around. He's gonna run back to the cabin or something for some dumb reason, I don't know. But as she's doing that, he gets felled by a tree.
He does. All of a sudden you hear thud.
And she looks back and he's underneath the tree, and then it cuts to the two beavers who cut down the tree, looking at each other and laughing
approvingly
like
at each
Muppets.
other.
It is
like, yes, we're good, we're great. They were actually nodding, giggling, and nodding.
Mouths wide open, laughing at what they just did, which is absolutely fucking hilarious. That's fantastic. And I gotta say, it's at this point that from this point on, to me, the movie loses its charm. It was charming before because it was a goofy sort of comedy horror. It didn't take itself too seriously, but now it's just kind of getting annoying, a little repetitive, and at this point, it doesn't. To me, it's not as creative. I mean, it's not as fun. It's just. It's at this point that I'm just waiting for the movie to end. Beforehand, I was waiting for the movie to end, but I was also enjoying the kind of build up. But now, at this point, I'm just ready for it to end. It's just, it is what it is. Zombie beavers.
It just becomes nonstop zombie beaver attack.
And I think also they show the first the beaver animatronics from the very get go, from the very beginning. So there's no build up to it.
Yep. You see the beavers right off the bat.
They're not even in shadows. It's in the middle of daytime when you see them on the dam. So you see in full daylight what the beaver animatronics look like. So it's not that impressive to begin with. But then we see the zombie beaver in the shower, and at that point it's just zombie beavers everywhere.
And we do mean everywhere.
Everywhere,
which is funny because they act surprised at one point that there were actually more than one of them.
Right.
It's a beaver dam.
Yeah.
There's families of beavers, tons of beavers, but they're like, there's more than one.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, you dumbass bitch. But what are you going to do?
It's just, it's too much at that point. I mean, a lot of times with these movies, they don't always show you the monster or the killer right off the bat. They kind of build up to it and they show it more towards the end. But this one's kind of from the get-go, and so to me that's how it loses its charm, because you see it so much that it no longer becomes funny. It just becomes sort of ridiculous.
Yes.
And not in a funny way.
And what's funny is the neighbors. We have to allude to this part real quick.
Oh,
the neighbors over there listening to the ruckus of what's going on in the cabin, and they're like, what the hell is going on over? You want to go over there? And they make all these stupid jokes, and the guy's petting a dog. Mm-hmm. And then he takes a moment, goes off camera. Then he goes back down to him petting, and all of a sudden it's a zombeaver that he's petting. But yet the beaver's not growling, attacking, or nothing.
Don't know where the dog went. It's a very large dog.
No idea. Very poor cut. It's like, what happened? The dog didn't even get up, didn't move, didn't do nothing.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's petting this damn beaver. Right. Well, this is the last we see of said neighbors.
Oh, it's just those kids scissoring each other to Lady Gaga.
Well, anyway, going back to the crash scene where the tree is down.
Yeah.
Smith with a Y shows up out of the wood line.
Right.
Fires at the Matrix beaver that jumps up in the air.
5 feet in the air, yeah.
Jumps 5 feet in the air and is about to bite her face off. Zoe, I guess.
Zoe and Buck get in his truck and they take off. He takes them back to the cabin where we see that the other three, Jen, Mary, and Sam, have been putting planks all over the windows and doors.
Yep, boarding up the house.
So now, when they get back, they can't get in the house because they boarded it all up.
We cannot turn against each other right now. That is exactly what the beavers would want.
And so they have to take off across. They take off across the clearing to the neighbor's house.
Yep, they take all 1 foot and haul ass over there.
Right.
And they get into the house. He once again plops him down on the couch. He's under the blanket, chilling out. they're going to cauterize the stump, try to stop the bleeding because he's telling them we can't get out of here. He's going to die, and blah, blah, blah. So they're preparing to cauterize the stump, by his, it was his idea. So they get to it. He's laying there getting ready to torch him, and all of a sudden they hear some racket. I'm like, what the hell? And
so he gets up to go take a look, and then all of a sudden, as him and Zoe are facing away from Buck, trying to figure out the noises.
That's right.
Buck jumps up and has turned into a beaver. Like he's grown big buck teeth. But before that, our first scene of
the kind of simultaneous beaveritis. I guess
the characters turn into a beaver is at the other house when Mary is laying down on the bed trying to get some rest for whatever reason. I don't understand why she's resting when there's a beaver attack. Jen comes in and gets on the bed, and Mary's talking to her about the event, the cheating event, whatever. And it looks like it's got a very dreamlike quality because it sounds like a dream. The music sounds very dreamy, and it's got these weird camera angles that insinuate it's a dream. And she gets on top of Mary, puts her hands up and holds her hand, and all of a sudden, claws start coming out of her hands, and then buck teeth grow out of her mouth.
Big
and
ass
she turns
beaver
into
teeth.
this beaver. But
it literally turns into a beaver.
Mary's able to get away. Sam smashes Jen with a bat, and they lock her in the room. And so it's just Sam and Mary in the living room while Jen's locked away. Then we cut to the whole scene with the other two, and Buck turned into a beaver as well.
Yep. Which I basically referred in my notes for this movie as mass stupidity ensues, because basically it just becomes a clusterfuck of moronic scenes and
it just
stupidity.
goes off the rails. And again, this is where, like I said, this is where it like loses its charm, because like none of these kills are very good, and it's just kind of like you're just waiting for the next one to happen, and when it happens, it's not very good. Although we do get a very very great scene of Mary and Sam in the living room, where all the furniture pretty much has been removed because it's been torn down to put onto the doors and windows.
Yeah, after they took out. It was after. They knocked Jen out in the room, locked her in the room, and they're in there running around the living room, and all of a sudden, what do we get, Chris?
The beavers start poking their heads through the floor of the cabin, and they start whacking at them,
literally
like a life-size game of whack-a-mole.
It's hilarious.
And it's so fucking great.
Popping
it is
up.
So funny. It's the one scene in this last part that's actually kind of worth the rest of it.
It's actually pretty damn funny, and I actually laughed out loud when I saw it, because that one got me there. It was hilarious. And what's funny is these morons finally are beginning to realize that beavers actually eat wood.
Yeah. So they're just chewing through the cabin.
Refer to that. Beavers eat wood. I was like, and you're in a wooden cabin with wooden floors, so it was bound to happen.
Yeah. So Buck kills Smith with a Y. Zoe has Smith's gun, trying to shoot him, keeps missing, ends up shooting Smith with a Y in the head, then runs upstairs or runs to another room to escape, ends up in the bedroom where the wife is. The neighbor wife is, of course, dead on the bed. Sits up, goes to attack her. She's out of bullets. No more bullets.
No more bullets.
And so decides, she's on the second floor, so she decides to run and jump out the window.
Yep. For
what reason, I don't know, but she escapes there.
And she gets knocked cold. There's beavers running everywhere, but yet she's perfectly safe on the ground. Yeah. Nothing happens.
And so back at the other house, you've got Mary and Sam, who lock themselves in the bathroom and decide to get butt naked to make sure they don't have any scratches on them.
Do an inspection, because they've realized now that if you're scratched or bitten by one of these things, you turn into a fucking beaver. So.
And so, in the middle of that, because they're college kids and because it's a movie, they decide to have sex.
Of course, people are dying. Well, what do we do? Hey, you know what? Let's fuck.
Yeah. And then Jen busts through the floor.
Yes, and my personal favorite
Mine too.
Justice moment, because this is the prick that threw the dog in the lake.
Yes. Bites Sam in the dick and bites his dick off. Is fucking
just tears
great.
It the
just
fuck
great.
off.
So Mary bolts out of there. She's trying to get out of the house. While that happens, one of the cuddly beavers decides to chew through the electrical cord and sets himself on fire. And then they use the remote control car that it's attached to wheel him over to the curtain, which sets the curtain on fire, which sets the cabin on fire. So then Mary runs out of the bathroom. She's trying to escape.
She's standing around like Curly. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. What do I do? What do I do?
Everything's boarded up, so she's fucked. But then Zoe plows through the side of the house in Smith's truck.
Smith with a Y.
Yeah, Smith with a Y. She gets in. They take off. They get to where the down tree was. They have to walk out. And as they're walking out, Mary pulls a gun that she somehow found in the Smith's truck.
Let's not forget Dumbass, too. He's still under the tree, but he's now a zombie.
Yeah, Tommy's under the tree still, but his hand is like trying to scratch it. It's so fucking stupid. So then he pulls a gun on Zoe. Zoe tells her not to shoot her until she's turned. And while that's happening, all of a sudden, just like that.
Instantly. No warning. No nothing. No slow transformation. No cool ass American Werewolf effects. No. Instant.
Mary turns.
What instant? What is it? The instant.
Shake.
Haze dies.
Yeah, the haze dies. And then she just her teeth, buck teeth grow on her head, and she turns into a zombie.
It turns into a zombie.
So Zoe smacks her in the head a couple times with an axe,
and goes all Negan on her with an axe, chops the shit out of her.
So she looks like she's the only survivor of this whole night.
She's gonna make it.
So she starts walking down the road to try to get help, and she gets to the main road. And what do we get but another fantastic appearance by our two favorite truck drivers,
yes.
John Mayer and Bill Burr.
Hey, you see that girl?
Yeah, I see her.
I trust you.
And we get the same scene again with the deer, but this time with the girl. And the very last scene is John Mayer telling Bill Burr, "Hey, you see that girl on the road?" And he's like, "Yeah, I see her." And then John Mayer's like, "I trust you," and looks over to see Bill Burr on his phone. Cut to the outside. It fades to black right as the truck hits Zoe and she dies.
So that just does it for me because I love it.
Yes.
When everybody dies.
Yes.
Nobody gets away.
Dies. Yes.
Nobody gets away.
Yeah.
And then the most awesome for a horror movie, one of the most awesome things. First of all, they put in a cool ass gag reel, which actually brought that home for me.
Yes. Gag reel is actually very funny.
That saved it for me a lot. The gag reel is really good. It's funny. And then the most awesome ending song to a horror movie I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, very Frank Sinatra style. What's the name of the song again?
Zombeavers.
Zombeavers.
Sang by a crooner style.
Yes.
Sounds like Frank Sinatra, Michael Bublé type kind of thing.
So it's a very cool ending to a very, very funny, not very scary movie. But I do want to make a very serious point about how wrong the title of this movie is and how incorrect the classification of these creatures is.
Very what? Yep.
So it's called Zombeavers. They are exposed to chemicals and are said to have turned to zombies. However, there are multiple instances where a zombie is hit or stabbed in the head, in the brain, which should kill them.
Yes.
Does not. Zombie is still alive. Also, when a zombie scratches or bites a person, that person should turn into a zombie.
Which usually doesn't have any physical effects other than slow, non-responsive,
maybe
gargling,
necropsy, or
exactly
the flesh dying, whatever. But these people actually turn into beavers. Like they grow the teeth, they grow Jen grew a damn tail.
She grew a tail, so we have mutation.
Yeah,
these should have been
zombies,
beaver mutants, or something like that. They weren't really zombies. I mean, they were zombie-esque in some aspects, but there was more of a mutation.
Yeah, because when they scratched the people, they mutated into zombies. They didn't turn into. I'm sorry, I keep saying fucking zombies. They mutated into beavers. They did not turn into zombies. They mutated into beavers, so they are not zombeavers. They are beavers.
Yes,
mutant beavers turning people into even the bear. The bear we saw earlier.
That's right.
We see it later on, and in the middle of the night when they're trying to escape.
They had a zombear,
and the bear was turned into a beaver. This bear had beaver teeth and had a big ass tail. So it's
at that point, like you said, you put it perfect. It's just off the rails. The whole damn movie just went berserk at about the 2/3 point, and we're just sitting there with your jaws hanging open. You're laughing at some of the stuff,
right?
But the story's lost its touch. I mean, it's just complete chaos. The whack-a-mole was badass.
That was pretty funny. Yeah.
So all
James,
this, yeah.
That being said, what are you gonna give this movie?
I actually, after watching it a couple of times, laughed enough at it. There was enough charm to it and enough funniness to it, to me, to overshadow the really shitty acting by a couple of these people. I mean, of course, what are we talking about here? These are not Academy Award winning movies anyway.
Right.
So for me, I am actually going to give Zombeavers a 1 turd.
Nice.
I actually think this movie is a must see for horror fans. It is funny. There is a lot of stupidity, but it's just stupid enough and funny enough for me to be a 1 turd. This is probably my favorite one that we've done so far.
Okay.
As far as just overall quality of entertainment.
Nice.
The entertainment quality.
Yeah, it definitely was quite a bit entertaining, at least more than the others. And I think this one, and more so in the fact that it was very self-aware, and it knew it wasn't creating any type of actual horror film. It was much more comedy along the lines of like Tucker and Dale, but
yes,
whereas Tucker and Dale was very smart, had a great script, and had very, very original, interesting kills, and it was supported by 2 very, very good actors in the main lead.
Yes, Tucker and Dale won't ever make our list.
No,
because that's way too good to be classified to us as a shitty horror movie.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, the script. The script was really bad. The actors weren't that great. I enjoyed, like I said, the first half of it very much. I enjoyed the credits. I enjoyed both credits, both the beginning and the end credits, because the beginning was very, like I said, Creepshow 2, great synth music at the beginning, and the end had the crooner song. So it was a good mix of those two. But that second half just really killed it for me. I was so on board with the first half, but then the second half it was off the rails, but not in a good way. And it almost felt like, and I think I mentioned this to you earlier. This movie seemed like it was written originally as a short film, maybe a 20-25 minute film, but then they decided they had enough funding, quote unquote funding, to try to stretch it out to make it as close to a 90-minute feature as possible, and so they added a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
But still, why it almost feels like 2 different movies. Like the first half seems different from the second half, and I think the second half is very tacked on. But overall, it was very funny. I enjoyed it. But because of the second half and because the script, I'm gonna give it a 2.
2 turds.
2 turds.
Fair enough.
Definitely watch it a couple times. For me, watch it and riff on it. Play a drinking game to it. It's definitely worth at least checking out more than once for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
play the mustache game with it. Put a mustache on the screen every time a beaver's face hits the mustache.
That
is
a
drink.
great game. We've played that once. It's hilarious. Just cut out a little paper mustache. Put it on your TV, and then every time it lines up, like you said, take a drink, and it is
with a beaver, because the beavers are all over the screen.
Beaver. Yes,
only with the beaver.
With the beaver.
But yeah.
So all right, so that one was after 2 weeks of really hard movies. This was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, we got some good laughs out of this one, folks, and I think you guys will too.
Yeah.
And if you've seen it already, watch it again. Leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
See what you think about it. Your reviews, if you'd like to type something up. You can find us on Facebook.
Yep.
We are now on Instagram.
Woohoo!
Yes, and we are now on Twitter. And we've already got over 130 followers on Twitter. We appreciate that.
Nice.
We're almost hit 500 on Facebook. I think
fantastic.
we're like 2 shy. We're
That's
like
awesome.
498. We're getting there. Not bad. This is only episode 7, so we're really trying hard.
And leave comments, guys. Leave comments. Leave suggestions. Leave your reviews of the movies. I mean, the Facebook page is open for whatever you want, as long as it is within the realm of what we're talking about. We're on iTunes.
Yep.
Castbox. And Spotify. You can find our podcast there.
Yep.
And I think that's it for me. Anything else for you, James?
No.
No?
Just keep an eye out. New episodes every Friday.
Every
we
Friday.
appreciate the support. We're having a ball doing this, and we're hoping you're enjoying listening.
All right, guys. Until then, I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And watch out for those Zombeavers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zombeavers. You hear your sweetheart scream. She tells you why you don't believe her. She saw one in the bathroom. It's no lie. It's a Zombeaver, contaminated by toxic goo, a random genetic mistake. They're semi-aquatic, they're hungry for you. Boys and girls, stay away from the lake. Zombeavers, 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 Zombeavers. A cheerful gang of college students think they're on vacation. Instead, they're dodging beaver chompers and facing their damnation. Don't board up the doorways and windows, my friend. It won't do any good. These furry brown bastards are fully equipped and they'll chew right through the wood. Say goodbye to your golden retriever. Zombeavers, Zombeavers. So brace yourself, you've never witnessed rodents quite like these. Oh, Jesus Christ, you can't escape. They block the road with trees. Check your bodies for scratches. You can't be too careful. Their claws are a cause for concern. Yes, once you're infected, it's only a matter of time before you turn into Zombeavers. Spoiler alert. Zombeavers. Look out, they're coming through the walls. Your girlfriend's chewing off your balls. Zombeavers, 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 baby.